Hi, I'm Craig Phillips, the proud brand ambassador of 3C Sealants. Now, as you can imagine, I often get asked a variety of different questions about silicone, sealants and adhesive. So we thought we'd sift through our social media channels as well as our emails and YouTube to find out what type of questions you're asking so I can address them. The first question was from Toby Carroll from Rex, and this came in via email. There's quite a few others asking the same question too. How do I get a nice finish to my silicone bead after I've gunned it out? Now, you may have seen a professional do this or just noticed the fact that a cured, perfectly finished bead of sealant looks really neat and tidy. Well, this is achieved by what's known as tooling off. There's a few different ways to do this, but all that's involved is some sort of smoothing action. The most important thing to remember, whatever method you use or whatever materials you're using, whether it's a silicone, polyurethane or a polymer of some sort, you must use a barrier so that the choice of tool will not stick or drag to the applied silicone in the joint. This is done by spraying the joint and the tool with a soapy liquid such as a dedicated tool solution. But what's often used by professionals is just washing up liquid and water. I quite often use 3C silicone wipes. Then with a certain tool suited for the joint size, such as a plastic block, shaped stick, or even your finger, is then moved slowly but surely over the bead to give the desired finish. Any excessive residue can be carefully scraped from the surface to leave a smooth, even line of sealant prior to it curing. Now, for those of you who have never tried smoothing off sealant before, I often encourage beginners to apply 2 lines of masking tape on the both surface edges, just leaving around a 5mm gap on both sides. Apply your silicone using your gun, then using a smoothing tool or your finger, try to strike a consistent line until you're satisfied with the finish. And don't forget, keep using your 3C wipes to keep that surface clean and stop the solution sticking to either your finger or the tool. The second question was from Claire Roberts. She lives in Portsmouth and this came in on Instagram. There are so many different sealants on the market, it's really confusing. What should I use around a window frame on the outside? Whilst there is a few different options, things need to be considered, whether it needs to be painted over either now or in the future. If so, then the best choice would be to use a hybrid polymer sealant that can be painted over when cured and indeed in the future. If you don't need to paint over it now, or you're sure it won't need painting over in the future, then the best choice would be to use a good quality, low module silicone sealant such as LMT. As an example of this, for a UPVC window in general, although they can be painted, there's less chance of wanting to paint this kind of material in the future. So using LMT either in white or other common colour stocks to match the other substrates, whether it's stone, brickwork, blockwork, etc., certainly would be your best choice. The third question is from Kaya Lovell from the Wirral, and this came in via Facebook. How can I put a mirror up on my wall without using fixings? A common misconception is that whilst most silicones have a degree of adhesive properties, many mirrors have foil backing on the glass that isn't compatible with the chemical ingredients used in silicones, especially epoxy. And so the correct choice for most cases will be a dedicated mirror adhesive, of which there are several available on the market and do a fair job on sticking smaller, lighter mirrors to walls. But I prefer the overall final bond strength of 3C's Max Bond to do a proper job every time, which gives you peace of mind that the adhesive will last the distance. Now, I've personally used Max Bond on over 50 different substrates around our house, garden and products. Now, I even stuck a number of mirrors to our plastered, painted bedroom walls, as well as fixing down these huge rolls of artificial grass to our workshop studio roof that is made of fiberglass. We did this over 2 years ago now, and they're still fixed down as strong today as they were the day I did them. Question 4 was from Chris Simmons from Herefordshire. This came in via an email. They asked, how can I prevent mold growth on the silicone around my bath and shower? Now boy, do we get asked this question quite a lot. Well, it's a tough one, but explained with one important word: ventilation. Regardless of product's use, the way they're applied and the aftercare, the key factor to prevent the mold growth on curing silicone sealants in any areas of high humidity is certainly adequate ventilation. Of course, extraction fans are installed in standard bathrooms these days. It's part of the building regulations, especially in new buildings. And they do a decent job at taking away some of the steam after a hot shower or a bath. But an upgrade often conjures up images of expensive devices such as dehumidifiers and premium extraction fans. Well, the good news is this doesn't need to be the case. The easiest and most cost-effective way of airing a room is to simply open the window during or after use. Also, another great tip for helping your silicone sealant stay mold-free is to only use a high-quality silicone sealant with fungicide, such as 3C's HM. And don't forget, always rinse off with clean water and dry the areas off in the bathroom straight after use. The 5th question is from Aaron Critico from London. This came in via Facebook. Can I fix protection onto the surfaces to help with wear and tear? There's various types on the market, from flat to patterned. A product that's commonly used is checker plate. It comes in different thicknesses and will protect your surfaces from erosion, accidental damage and general scuffs from wear and tear without the risk of rusting. Now, you can drill holes and use screws to fix the protection into place, but this doesn't always look good, so we prefer the more aesthetic approach of using a glue such as 3C Max Bond to stick the plate or the edgings down. Depending on the surface area of the protective sheet or the edging, it doesn't require an awful lot of product. It's an effective method of joining with great initial grab and unmatching final bond strength. Now, I used the Max Bond to fix down these steel sheets to the plywood base of our very old and well-used trailer over 2 years ago now. The sheets are still firmly held into position due to Max Bond's powerful hybrid polymer adhesive. Question number 6 from Kaz Khan from Warsaw. Now, this has come in via Instagram. How do I remove old mastic sealant? There's a few products and tools available on the market specially made for removing old sealants such as silicone. Some of these are useful, but the professionals prefer the good old-fashioned sharp blade and a little bit of elbow grease. Usually the sealant has adhered to 2 sides and needs to be debonded from both surfaces to be fully removed. This is done by carefully pushing a sharp blade close to the bonded surface. Now, this could be your wall tiles, your bath, your shower tray, or even a kitchen worktop. By pulling along the bead with your sharp blade to effectively cut the cured product along the line. This is then repeated from the other angle, again as flat as possible to the surface, pulling along the bead with your blade. Once both sides have been cut, the whole bead should come out like a rubbery snake, or at least some decent long lengths. The residue can be scraped and wiped or even brushed off both sides of the surface, so it's nice and clean, ready to receive the newly applied silicone bead. Question number 7 from Joe Dawson in Edinburgh. Now, this has come in via an email. Does the weather matter when it comes to applying sealants outside? Now, this question is asked frequently by DIY users and professionals alike, with the majority of people wanting to know either the lowest acceptable temperature or if there's a product that can be used in damp or wet conditions, So I'll try to address these particular questions. Choosing the correct product for an external application should be the first priority, but obviously another consideration to assess is the surface and the weather conditions which you'll be applying the products in. If the outside temperature is between +5 to 40 Celsius, then the most low modulus silicones, polymers, hybrid polymers will be perfectly fine to use. That's providing that the surface is completely dry. Now if it's below 5 Celsius, the ground frost is usually the biggest issue, as well as curing systems struggling. If one or both of the substrates is wet or even damp, and manual drying the surface isn't possible, then careful attention and caution should be used. Silicone should be completely avoided as this material won't cure effectively and is likely to fail in adhesion. If the surfaces are wet, then application is still possible using a polymer sealant, such as 3C's polymer or a hybrid polymer based sealant, such as 3C multi-use. But even then, some of the manual drying should be done to a satisfactory level, so the area is damp as opposed to being wet. But please note, these type of products are quite forgiving, but doing a small test area prior to the full use is always advisable just to assess the adhesion. Question number 8, Fu Lee from Essex. This is coming via Facebook. He asks, what's the difference between all adhesives available? Now, as you can imagine, there's many different adhesives or glues on the market that come in all different shapes and sizes, so we'll stick to the cartridge-based ones for this question. Now, when it comes to bonding two similar or two dissimilar materials together, or fixing one material to an existing substrate, then there's really 3 types of products that can be used. So deciding on the best one for your application can be important. The first is the generic grab or grip adhesive, which has been around for decades and took care of many tasks where light to medium bonding was required. However, although you can still get some of these in hardware shops, the harsh chemicals used in these type of products are fast becoming outlawed in every country with health and safety considerations, forcing a rethink of materials. The second is the multi-use product that are essentially designed to be a sealant and an adhesive all in one. These have become a very popular choice for various tradespersons and keen DIYers due to the fact that they can carry a single item that can stick and seal to many surfaces in different situations. If you're after a decent glue for light duties around the house, then a product such as 3C's multi-use is perfect. The only drawback with the all-in-ones is that, as an adhesive, they can do a good job for light and medium fixing applications, but fall short of a perfect final bond strength for everything a bit heavier, such as items over 2.5 kilos on verticals. Now, the third type of adhesive is the power adhesive, such as 3C's Max Bond. These type of products are designed to be far better suited to heavier tasks and exhibit extreme powerful final bond strength when fully cured. As well as having superior staying power, these products often have excellent grab or grip properties as an added bonus, making them a solid choice when an application is such that manoeuvring heavy items into exact place is an issue. Although providing full support during the curing process is always strongly advised, as most power adhesives such as Max Bond are hybrid polymer based. They are slightly damp tolerant, which is handy if using externally in poor weather conditions. I'd certainly recommend checking out a video on YouTube that I've made showing Max Bond applied to over 50 different substrates, one of them being a single house brick holding my entire body weight to a brick wall. Question number 9 was from Bobby Taylor in Norwich, and this is coming via Instagram. Why does sealant crack? Like the stuff around my Covenant skating boards. This is a very simple question to answer because they're nearly always water-based products. The traditional cork is generally a filler made up of acrylic and water, which invariably evaporates after curing. then shrinks in all different directions, causing the bead to crack, split and break over time. It's an all too common sight to see above skirting boards, around door frames and also at the top and bottom of your ceiling coving, whether you painted it yourself or had a professional painter and decorator do it. Like with all construction materials, the technology moves on, and nowadays, although there's still cheap and cheerful decorators core and fillers available which can do a decent job, I mean, some are better quality than others, there's now newer options available, such as siliconized cork, a polymer based sealant such as 3C's Polymer, which does an excellent job of gap filling and allowing you to paint over the top perfectly well for a longer lasting seal. This is because it has better elasticity and will accommodate movement much more efficiently than the water based acrylic sealants. Question number 10. Bonita Davis from Cardiff has emailed in. I'm not very handy, but I just need a basic sealant for sealing a couple of things around the house, mainly inside as well as the odd job outside. What can I use? Well, there is a category of sealants known as general purpose or GP sealants, made exactly for this purpose to cut through the gump and provide a product that seals gaps for many kinds of jobs. A good rule of thumb is if you're not well adversed in many different types of sealants is to buy a silicone based GP sealant that has an anti-mould fungicide in, such as our 3C GP Silicone. That way you can use this product to seal all around the house, including the kitchen, bathroom and even some light outside sealing jobs without worrying about it being the wrong product. So hopefully that's answered 10 common questions asked around sealants and adhesive. But if you've got any more, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget, we're social, so please follow us on all social media handles. And if you want to see more how-to videos, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. But if you just want to know about the vast range of products that 3C stock, check out their website.